Welcome to the Dancing Oracle with Najia. Today we're having another episode of Tarot, Tea, and Tiaras. So, if you want to be a little kid like me, a kid at heart, you can wear a tiara while you watch this video. And you can send me a picture of yourself, and I'll be sure to put it on the community page or include it in a video. You can just email me. For those people, you're allowed to email me. If you have a picture of yourself in a tiara, the information is on my description box. And let me know in the comments to look out for it because I have someone go through my email and I'll tell you what to put in the subject line, okay? So I normally do a number of things when I do Tiara Tea, Tarot and Talks. And of course, I'm a psychic medium, so I will be doing some tarot, pulling some cards for our collective audience. And I also really like to acknowledge some of our viewers and what they write in. Some of our viewers have some really interesting things to say. And the purpose of this channel, the main purpose, is to help everyone raise their vibration and develop your intuitive gifts. We're all born with them. We get conditioned to filter out those intuitive gifts throughout life. They're not always socially acceptable. People will make fun of you. Various things happen. You may doubt yourself. But the purpose of this channel and my Divine Design and Intuition playlist is to help you and encourage you in different ways and raise your vibration. Be playful. Be playful, wear a tiara, whatever you want, and sip tea and fancy teacups. Sip your tea in a fancy teacup. This is one my mom gave me from her collection. I used to play with them as a kid. Under the dining room table, I'd make a fort under the dining room table and play with the teacups. I was really little then. All right, so I want to tell you a very interesting comment from Christine. Her handle is at Christine Joy Music Art. So last week, Christine wrote a comment on clairaudience, the angel and the kitty. That's a video I did maybe 3 months ago. It's in my Intuition and Divine Design playlist if you want to check it out and learn how to be clairaudient, which means listening on the inner for intuitive guidance, okay? So Christine writes, I just listened to your wonderful video about clairaudience. Loved it. Having worked in a recording studio, I learned there are thousands of sound waves in the ether. Just that alone. Chris, thank you so much for writing that because so many people can relate to that and cannot see the sound waves. All right, but we know they exist. We listen to the radio, we have the internet, we talk on phones. And all these sound waves are invisible. It doesn't mean they're not there and that you can't pick up on them. All right. And then she continues to write, some for transmitting radio signals, some for television, some for sonar, etc. And the higher signals, the higher sound signals are for transmitting spiritual messages. I'm so glad you said that doing drugs or drinking too much disconnects you from your spirit. Yeah, I can't do that because it's a disconnect. It's painful to be unplugged. I like being plugged in to spirit. I don't want to have anything interfere with that. So she has a hyphen and writes, as such, addictions put higher spirit into a comatose type state, while it allows for darker spirits to connect. Yeah, that's true. Darker spirits can come in, and there's leakages when you disconnect, right? So she also writes, I also have clairaudience and other psychic ways, including smell, which is not always pleasant. I understand, Christina. I have stories to tell about that in another video. She also has the gift of mind reading, which she stopped as it's also a form of trespass upon others. She can see spirits, and she sometimes reads auras. So my clarion audience experiences have included hearing my mother call out my name when she was in a coma 150 miles away. That was as clear as a bell, and in the ether outside of my head. The ability of clairaudience also saved my life when I was about to be attacked at 11:30 p.m., walking past an alleyway when my intuition within my being told me to turn around quick. I followed the inner advice, and as I did, my right arm shot up with a closed fist and connected with a man's chin. His hand was about 6 inches away from grabbing my shoulder. My arm and fist had such power behind it that it sent him reeling backwards, hitting his head against a wall as it threw him sideways up the alley. And as I ran, I looked back to see him sliding down the wall with a shocked look on his face. Sorry, I'm just checking. Yeah. I'm transitioning screens. By the way, if you're enjoying hearing about intuition and divine design, thumbs up, subscribe, help the channel grow. It's free. When I got home screaming, my then husband came running downstairs to see what was wrong, picked up my hand, and asked what I'd done. My knuckles were purple from the power of the punch. The man attacked another woman a few weeks later. He had attacked 3 women before me, raped and stabbed them fatally. The woman who identified him had been raped and stabbed, but she did not die, thanks be to God. So Christina honored her intuition. It saved her life. She could hear from her mom in a coma. You know, it's really, really important not to discount your inner voice. I'd love to hear from you in the comments right now if you have had any experiences like this. It's the purpose of our channel. I'm so glad that Christina is sharing all this. She has more. She has more. So as for pets, because remember, she was watching the clairaudience and kitty video. Yes, they do have life on another dimension after this one, just like humans. My cat Monet, who was with me for 21 years, often drops in to say hello and let me know he is still around. I feel, I'm so envious, Christina. Here's the next line. I feel him rubbing around my ankles as he used to do when he was in this dimension. And I also, this is so crazy. Listen to this. I have also found his fur on the pillow next to mine on my bed. 5 years after his death. I wash my pillows every week. My, my father has also come to say hello in spirit and warned me um, about things going on behind my back. That she was not aware of, right? And at the moment, my bedroom light flashes to advise a spirit is visiting me. Has that ever happened to you? That's a very common thing with electricity, lights flickering when the spirit enters the room. Or the phone suddenly goes on and the numbers light up. Things like that at certain times. Angel numbers. Let me know if you've had lights flickering. And this has been happening, the flashing on and off, since her brother's death. I was 4 the first time I saw a spirit watching me walk up the hallway. I've seen I have since seen a photograph of my second great grandfather and know it was now now know it was him watching me as a child. My grandmother also came to visit me 2 weeks after her death. So, yes, psychic phenomenons do exist. There's a lot more to this life than most people realize. And she says thank you to me for my inspiring videos. Well, I think Christina's stories are so inspiring. I was so excited when she wrote to me. So happy. I'm so excited for her gifts, that she's that tuned in, that she has honored her gifts, that she's not suppressed them. You know, a lot of people suppress their gifts. They get nervous. They think that there's something wrong with them, that they're imagining things. Maybe I had a client today, and I told her various ways her mom was communicating with her. Um, I had picked up that she was going through a lot of heartache and she's moving. She had moved recently, and yeah, she told me, yeah. Um, and she was so heartbroken because her mom never got to see her new home. And her mom was coming through and asking me to tell her a few things, that she wanted her, she wanted her to write something. And when I told her that, the woman started crying. She goes, I just bought this book and started to write last night to my mother. And it's so funny you say that. And I said, okay, yeah. And I also told her that, her mom, she was talking about rubbing the head, and it really was so great inside. I said, there's something going on with that. She goes, yeah, I used to rub my mom's head when she wasn't feeling well. I said, I think she's going to come around and do it to you, so don't be surprised. And you're going to get a really cold feeling because the energy is going to shift, and you're going to be vibing higher, and she's going to come down to meet your energy. And you would think that when someone from the behind the veil that you love, you would expect to feel all this warmth, but it's not. Things speed up, the energy speeds up, and you actually feel really, really, really cold. So don't be surprised. And she was, getting these different sensations, and, the shivers and different things, and picking up like her mom was writing through her and automatic writing. And she just needed the validation from me, because she felt like, there had been issues, mental things in the family. And she's like, oh, I hope it's not hereditary. And I said, no, don't doubt yourself. It sounds like your mom really wants to communicate with you. And these communications can save your life. And I told my client tonight, I said, it's not always going to happen when you're meditating. Like I said, I see you meditating and trying to listening on the inner to your mom and you're rejecting a lot. You're saying, oh no, that's just my imagination. I see you rejecting 3 times. Your mom's offering love. And the 4th time, it's like a hand come from the cloud offering you love. And you're saying, it's not real. It's not real. And you're just not even looking. And so I was talking about that 4 of Cups card experience. It's a very well-known card in the tarot deck, and that's what she was experiencing. And I said, no, your mom really, 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 really wants to have a relationship with you from beyond the veil. And it's not always going to happen when you're quiet and contemplative and trying to ground yourself, sitting up against a tree, meditating, like in the card. It's going to happen at odd times. And she wants you to know not to be thrown by it. And for all of you out there, I don't want you to be thrown by it. Just, just acknowledge that there's help on the other side. There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a whole team of people behind each person. Being on planet Earth is not easy. We have a lot of challenges here. So I'd love to hear about your experience, and if you're going to work on developing your intuitive gifts, it can not only save your life, but it helps you with so much, so much. And then we do miss those. We do miss those beyond the veil. It's not the same to keep. It's not the same without them in the physical. But we have to do what we can. We have to do what we can and communicate in the way that they're able to communicate with us, and send them blessings. Say thank you. Thank you for reaching out, and listen what they're trying to tell you. There's different ways it may came through, like audio, like you may actually hear something on the inner, you may hear something on the outer. It may be like a thought, and that's not your own. It could even be that silent, like a thought that's not your own. And of course, there's visualizing, knowing, just knowing things. You just don't know how you know. You sense things. You smell the people from beyond the grave. They're scent whatever perfume they're wearing. It's happened to me with my mom and different people. So anyway, I'm going to take my crown off. It's squeezing my head. And I don't know why I'm blushing. Why am I blushing? All of a sudden I noticed maybe all the squeezing of the head and So yeah, I'm gonna do a little I was gonna do tarot, but since we're on this subject of behind the veil and angels, giving guidance from our angels, I think I'm gonna pull some angel cards instead. All right, I really like this deck, the Divine Illumination. I know a lot of people will ask me, and it's really pretty illustration. I'm an illustrator. I haven't been lately. I will get back to it. I have just been busy, and my hands work now, and I can sit up straight. My back is doing better, so I can draw. I just haven't made time to draw again. I used to do it for a living. So sound vibrations clear the energy, and so does fire, right? Fire, the fire element. So I'm just going to go here and focus on. I had gotten a card from. Oh, okay. Let's see what we got. 999. Completion. All right? Completion. So a little message for our collective. All right? You have reached the finish line of your goal with a world of untapped possibilities waiting to be explored. Take a moment to reflect on the distance you have traveled and the invaluable lessons learned. Your perseverance and determination have brought you this far, and there's much to be proud of. So, nines. Nines are the end of a cycle. In the world of oracles, signs and symbols, and tarot, there are nine numbers, nine main numbers, 1 through 9, and they all have a certain vibration and a certain meaning. In fact, when you work with the dates and certain planetary alignments, they'll work out and they'll create portals. So it's very interesting to study that. I have a lot of that information also in my Divine Design and Intuition playlist. There's a lot of numerology stuff, including for your personal year. Nine's also the sign of a humanitarian. When you draw nines, or the nine shows up in your life, because you've reached the end of the cycle, you start thinking, what can I give to others? What can I give to others? I'm at the end of my cycle and I want to leave behind something. So I get the feeling that with my client who I read on tonight, her mom didn't get to complete that cycle and leave certain things behind to her daughter and wants to come through journaling. I have another dance client, and her mom, before her mom passed, her mom was had Alzheimer's, and it was really out of it. And I said, I told my client, I said, I've also read for her, but she's mainly my dance student. She takes Middle Eastern dance with me. And this is a couple years, or a year and a half, at least a year before her mom passed. And I said, your mom is halfway on the other side. I know she's physically here, but her spirit spends a lot of time on the other side. And on the other side, she doesn't have Alzheimer's. And she wants to communicate with you, because she can't do it hardly at all in physical life because she's so out of it, living in the past. She doesn't always know who you are. And so I suggested, it wasn't her mom's suggestion, but I just suggested, why don't you do automatic writing? Maybe your mom will come through. I know you can't communicate with her physically. I know you're trying in all kinds of ways, but you're not getting a clear conversation anymore. And her mom was brilliant. Her mom was an amazing artist of many, many means, an incredible force of nature. And this disease took hold of her brain. So I said, why don't you just try some automatic writing and see what comes through? She couldn't do it while her mom was alive. She just couldn't get up the courage to do it, because part of trying to tune in spiritually is you've got to get up the courage. You got to have some strength, spiritual strength, to take a risk and to trust and follow the energy. So that was hard for her because she was already dealing with so much. But after her mom passed, her mom came through me one night, and I got some really clear messages. I said, I got to talk to you after class. your mom's been coming in, and her mom really wanted to communicate with her. And another time, I was talking to a friend about my student, and all of a sudden, her mom came through, really came through on my conversation with my friend. It was so strange. It scared my friend, but her mom came through. And I called my student up right after I told her what happened. So since then, my student's been having some connection. I have to check in with her more about it, but she started the process, and it's been very fulfilling. So if you're in a similar situation and um, you're grieving, whether they're still with you, but you can't speak to them because they don't understand you. I mean, you're trying to speak to them, but you're not being heard. You can communicate to someone on the inner, you know? Just like Christina's mom was in a coma 150 miles away and was able to communicate with her daughter loud and clear. It does happen. I have so many stories in relation to what she wrote, but I'll save them for another time. Again, hope you liked this video. And if you think it will help someone, just share the link with somebody if you think there's someone that needs to hear this message. Thank you.